Well, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another crazy adventure. Even though it's really not an adventure, it's just more of me going to cruise around and probably go to work real quick. But I think the title of this video is going to be Let's Talk. So anyways, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the story of how I got into motorcycles and how I moved from Minnesota to here. Now, this isn't like the most positive story that I'm probably ever going to like talk about, but basically it's my past. And I just want you guys to keep in mind that the only reason why I bring this up even today is because it's still kind of, I don't know, I still think about it here and there. So here we go. We used to live back in Minnesota, and what I mean by we, I mean it was like my mom, the whole family, my brother, and my dad. And little backstory here. My brother got kicked out of our house when I think he was like, I think he was either 14 or 15. So my brother is only half brother. So we share the same mom, but we have different dads. And this is just kind of like, you know, the beginning of like what really became like the downfall, is what I like to call it. So when I was in school, I used to get picked on a lot, and I had begged my dad to move me to a different school. So we decided that I would go to live with my Aunt Terry. And so I lived with them for 4 years until I graduated from high school. Well, a lot of things happened within those 4 years that were not really the greatest. Let me put it this way. My mom and dad still lived back at our house, and my dad decided that it would be smart to cheat on my mom and get a divorce, to put it lightly. And instead of just being, you know, straightforward with my mom about it, he came to me one day, and my mom decided to come out to Idaho because that's where she's from. And she really didn't have like anywhere else to go. So I decided that I would stay, and this was like probably middle of like freshman year in high school. I decided that I would stay back home so that way I could finish my schooling. Because at that point in time, I thought my schooling was more important than dealing with whatever was going on with my mom and dad. Because I figured that if I graduated high school, at least I would have, you know, my diploma, and know, maybe it would help. But just to put in reference, another reason why I had left the original school that I was getting like bullied at was because the teachers didn't know how to help me. So I have very bad dyslexia. And what the teachers used to do is I would ask for help and they would just throw the answer packet in front of me, and that's not how you learn. And so I went to a different school, and the teachers were way better at this school. They actually put the effort in to help me, spent the time to, like, you know, properly teach me things, and I took full advantage of it. Like 100% took full advantage of it. It was actually probably one of the best times in my life was going to that school, because I went from a school that didn't want to help me and went to a school that did want to help me, and the teachers actually wanted to put an effort in, and it was actually pretty good. So anyways, my dad and mom decided to announce that they were getting a divorce on Christmas when the whole family was together. And I didn't really know why they were getting a divorce at this time, because my dad wasn't being, you know, forthcoming. You know, he didn't want to tell anybody. So I finally, you know, when my dad was about to move my mom out here, he picked me up from school, and he was glad that I made the decision to stay where I was at, because I feel like that so just to put in reference, he was incredibly cheap. And I feel like the reason why he was happy that I stayed with the school that I was staying with was because he didn't have to pay child support. So he proceeded to, you know, he was pretty happy that I stayed with my aunt, basically. So Dad packed my mom up in in her car and drove her out here and left her with my great grandma, which is no longer with us. And well, on the day that he moved her out, he moved a new lady into the house that I grew up in. And this is where everything kind of went to crap. This is like the big, you know, this is the downfall, as I call it. So Dad comes to me before he moves my mom out here, and he's all like, "Don't tell your mom, but I'm moving a girl into our house." And I said, okay. And personally with me, I have some morals, you know, like, I just feel like it wasn't right not to have my mom, or like tell my mom what my dad was doing. And honestly, to tell you the truth, my dad was setting me up for failure. So I told my mom what was going on, and obviously my mom was upset, but she needed to know what was going on. And so, as it goes, I turned 18 and I got my motorcycle endorsement. And my dad had a collection of motorcycles. He had like 13 different bikes. He had an assortment of like older ones. He had 3 newer ones. And when I was younger, I used to work in the garage with them on the bikes. And so when I got my endorsement, I thought me and my dad could, you know, bond over the motorcycle stuff. Well, we took one trip together, and that was about it. So he had this girl living with him for a while, and he decided to right out to Minnesota right before I graduated from high school. And he saw my mom and he pissed the lady off because I went back to my family house to grab some things out of my room that used to, you know, basically I had moved out of this house like at this point. Like I basically never went back there, and I just kind of, you know, I kind of just went there every now and again to basically pick up stuff. Well, and I was still living at my aunt's house, and I was bringing stuff back and forth from there. Well, on my graduation day, he was telling me that my mom was not doing good. So obviously that makes me a little concerned. And I decided to hop on my motorcycle right after I graduated and ride out here. Well, me being a newer rider, and that was like the only way I could afford to get to Idaho at the time, I had a car pull out in front of me at around 65 miles an hour while I was doing around there, right before a place called Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I laid the bike over. I hit the front brake a little too hard, and the front tire lost grip and it slid out sideways. So the bike didn't even make contact with the car that it, so I avoided hitting the vehicle. But I just remember seeing the sky and the ground pretty fast, and getting up out of the middle of the pavement and going over and picking up my bike, and that was that. I was wearing full gear, and I mean, yeah, it ate through like my gloves a little bit, and, you know, it tore up the bike pretty good, but I was all right, you know. And so anyways, the cops come, they help me pick my bike up, they gauze me up a little bit, and they basically say, well, you're all good. And the bike was missing like the left foot peg, and the handlebars were bent cockwise, and it was like kind of hard to ride it at this point. And so I rode it all the way back home like that, and I didn't really care because I didn't really have another choice. So about, you know, 400 or 500 miles was left on that trip from that point. So I get here and I decide that we should fix the bike, and so that way I can ride back home. Well, it took like 2 weeks, and just to put this in reference, my dad had already split up with this girl that he had moved in like 8 months later after he moved her in. So he, like I said, he pissed her off by coming to see my mom. And so she had moved out. Well, he found a different girl that he was living with, not in our family home. He was using our home as storage. And so he decided to rent that house to me for $350 a month, is what he decided that he wanted to do. And my mom was okay with that. Well, the thing that he didn't tell my mom, and he was very good at not telling my mom things, was that he wanted to rent to own that to me. Well, anyways, 2 weeks had gone by and I'd been stuck out here, and he got mad that I had crashed that bike, and he told me I should just stay out here. Didn't even ask me if I was okay, didn't ask me any of that crap, just got mad, told me to stay out here. So I said, okay. So I went back home, grabbed like a couple bags worth of crap, and hopped back on the bike and moved out here. And that's kind of the story of like what had gone on. So where I am today, and it's been a long time since all this has happened. My mom is doing fine. She lives on her own. I'm doing fine. We live on our own. Yeah, we don't make the most money in the world, but you know, that is what it is. I would definitely say that I don't talk to any of that side of the family. None of it. I don't talk to my grandma. I don't talk to my aunts. I don't talk to my dad. I haven't talked to him ever since. And just to put in reference, while I was growing up, they were very good at belittling people. So you could be getting straight A's or doing really good on stuff, and they'd still say that it wasn't good enough. So basically the way I look at it is there's absolutely no way of pleasing them. So that's part of the reason why I don't talk to them, because everything that you do is not good enough. And I don't need negativity in my life like that. Like, I physically just don't. Okay, I'm one of those people that if you want to be negative and it sucks, like, I mean, I get it. Like, I understand that you could be doing better, but I just kind of just plow ahead. Like, I don't really care what's going on. I just keep going. And I will continue to do that probably for the rest of my life. Because if you don't keep plowing on ahead, what are you doing? And I mean, yeah, I could have been sad and bummed out. And, you know, I was for a little bit. But, I mean, everything turns out all right eventually. I will say this. The last 4 years of living out in Minnesota were not that great. I miss Minnesota, I really do, but I don't think that, like, I don't know, the bad memories that I've had there are just not, it's not worth it, you know? Like, I would love to move back, but I'm kind of just settled where I'm at, and it's hard to, like, move back. And so that's kind of my point is that I know people have probably got way worse things that have happened to them, but my dad wasn't there for me through schooling. He wasn't there for me for basically half my childhood. We didn't have a childhood. That's the best way that I could put it. Even my brother will say this. We didn't have a childhood. We had to grow up super quick. And I mean, that's just kind of a personal story of mine. It's just that, like, yeah, things sucked. I turned out all right. At least I think I did. Some other people might disagree, but hey, screw you. So anyways, that's kind of like the whole family drama, and I don't really regret my decisions to not talk to those relatives. I really don't. My life has been pretty peaceful. They're not negative. I mean, they probably talk shit all the time. But hey, I don't have to fucking hear it, so I don't care. But I know this story is a little, it's a little darker. And if you made it, like, to this point in the video, I really appreciate it. That's just a little backstory of, like, what it was like for me growing up anyways, because my childhood was a little messed up. And I don't think anybody has a perfect childhood. I mean, I don't really know. But I mean, I don't know, I think about it here and there, and I mean, I still am kind of like, I don't know, I don't know. It's just that, like, basically what happened was is that my dad moved me to my aunt's and my mom left, so I got left with nothing. And I mean, it still kind of affects me a little bit today, because I had to, like, when I was like in high school, I had to pay for my own clothes and crap. Toothpaste, clothes, deodorant. My aunt didn't really do a whole lot for me. And like, I don't know. It just, like, I'm just saying, I understand that people have had a rougher time. Like, there's definitely a lot worse stories than this. This was just kind of like, it seems bad to me. But, I mean, everything turned out alright in the end. I mean, yeah, we had some rough patches out here for sure, and there's definitely some times where I wasn't so motivated to do things or whatever, you know. But I'm just saying that if any of you guys are having a hard time, I'd just say keep forging ahead. Eventually something it'll figure it out. Especially when you're younger, because man, when I was sitting there struggling with a whole bunch of crap, I just remember everything seemed like it was just falling apart. That road is closed. I know the comments might be a little weird on this video too, but I mean, I have my reasons for not reconnecting with these people after so long. And I think the reasons are justified enough to the point where that relationship is gone. So anyways, that's my backstory, and that's kind of where the motorcycles came from. I still enjoy riding these, even though, like, they're, like, I don't know, like, a lot of people would be like, well, they're attached to bad things. I mean, in my opinion, this is kind of what I just grew up around. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, these are something that I enjoy, and I get to enjoy them quite often, when it's nice out anyways. But, yeah, I'm just saying, no, I don't think anybody's up, like, I know there's people that struggle way harder than what I did, for sure, but I'm just saying that, yeah, it's kind of where everything kind of came to, is, well, I don't talk to him anymore, and I'm way happier if I don't. So, if you guys made it this far, like, thanks for watching. I'm gonna get off this, and I'm gonna go to work now, so I'll talk to you later.